The Golden State Warriors are at a critical crossroads, and a pivotal decision looms over the franchise that could shape their future. With the clock ticking and the playoffs approaching, questions arise about a key player's fit in the lineup that could either propel them to glory or derail their championship aspirations. Are we witnessing the last days of an era, or is there still hope for this talent to rise and shine? Buckle up, Dubs fans, because you won't want to miss what lies ahead. If you want to stay in the loop and ride this roller coaster with us, ensure to hit that subscribe button and drop a like. The Golden State Warriors have made some strategic moves this season, but there's an underlying issue that could haunt the franchise. Despite the excitement generated by the team's recent success since acquiring Jimmy Butler, there's a growing concern about Jonathan Kuminga's fit within this lineup. I've watched him closely, and I'm starting to think he may not be the player we hoped he would become, especially as the core of this team ages. Kuminga's recent performances have been lackluster, to say the least. Yes, he missed over a third of the season due to that ankle injury, and it's clear he's not yet playing at full capacity. But even in the games since his return, he's been forcing things on offense, which is frustrating to watch. His numbers, averaging 13 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists, don't jump off the page, especially considering he's shooting only 40% from the field. We all know he's better than that, but he's not showing the confidence we expect from a young player who's supposed to be a future cornerstone of this franchise. His struggles aren't just about numbers, they show up in how he plays. Kuminga has become a ball stopper, taking questionable shots early in the shot clock, which disrupts the flow of the offense. Before he returned, the Warriors were firing on all cylinders, with great spacing and ball movement. Now, it feels like Kuminga is trying to do too much, and that's not what we need from him right now. We traded for Jimmy Butler to alleviate pressure off players like Kuminga, yet he seems to have lost sight of how to fit into this system. This brings us to a critical question. Can the Warriors really commit big money to a player who hasn't proven he can be effective in high-pressure situations? With Kuminga set to enter a contract year, it's a pivotal moment for both him and the franchise. Turning down a 5-year, $150 million contract was a bold move. But was it the right one? It feels like a gamble that could backfire if he doesn't show significant improvement. Looking at his stats, his true shooting percentage is in the 24th percentile in the league, and his free throw shooting is even worse, 64%, placing him in the 10th percentile. That's alarming for someone expected to be a key player moving forward. If Kuminga doesn't step up his game, we're talking about serious consequences for the Warriors' future. I'm not saying he can't improve, but at this point in his career, we need more than just potential. The reality is, if we're serious about competing for championships, Kuminga might not be the answer. Steve Kerr has shown hesitance to rely on him in crunch time, and it's telling that he opted for different players in crucial moments, like against the Milwaukee Bucks. That's not just a coaching decision, it's a statement about trust. As fans, we have to ask ourselves if we believe Kuminga can evolve into a player we can depend on in the playoffs. So, what's next? Do we continue to give him minutes and hope he figures it out? Or should we explore the trade market this summer? There are compelling arguments for both sides. On one hand, he's only 22, and there's still time for development. On the other, we can't ignore the reality that he's entering year 5 in the league without much polish to show for it. I want to hear from you. Do you think Kuminga deserves to stay, or should the Warriors look to move him for someone who can contribute now? Should we be patient and allow him to grow, or is it time to cut our losses? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. As we look ahead, the stakes couldn't be higher. The Warriors have a chance to make a deep playoff run, but they need every player on their roster to be firing at peak performance. This is not just about Kuminga, it's about the future of the franchise. We want to remain competitive, and the decisions made in the coming months will shape our path forward. The Golden State Warriors are at a crucial juncture in this season as they navigate the ups and downs of the playoff race. After an impressive 12-3 start, the excitement was palpable, but injuries have thrown a wrench into the works, leading to some tough questions about the team's championship aspirations. The addition of Jimmy Butler has sparked renewed hope, and I can't help but feel a mix of optimism and concern as we analyze this revamped roster. As fans, we've seen our beloved Warriors rise and fall, and we know that a championship run relies heavily on more than just our star trio of Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green. We've been spoiled by the strength in numbers mantra, but this year, the depth isn't quite what it used to be. Looking at the role players, we have some familiar names like Gary Payton II, Kevon Looney, and Buddy Hield, but the experience and reliability of the supporting cast is still a question mark. Take Moses Moody, for instance. He's been entrusted with a starting role, but can he rise to the challenge as a perimeter defender and reliable shooter? His recent numbers haven't been encouraging, and as we head into the playoffs, he'll need to step up significantly. If Moody can't hit those catch-and-shoot threes, defenses will collapse on Curry and Butler, and that's a recipe for disaster. Then there's Jonathan Kuminga, who has been on the shelf for a while. His return is pivotal, but he's shown some inconsistency on the court. Can he find his groove quickly enough to be a reliable scorer and defender? This team needs him to not only perform, but to elevate his game to match the intensity of playoff basketball. Honestly, I'm torn. I want to believe he can be the difference maker we need, but the pressure is immense, and let's not overlook Brandin Podziemski. His role has shifted with the trade deadline moves, and now he's expected to contribute more offensively. Can he handle that pressure? If Butler isn't able to shoulder the load, Podziemski's ability to knock down shots and defend will be crucial. He could either shine as a late-game option or find himself riding the bench. It's a make-or-break situation, and I'm really curious to see how he responds when the lights are brightest. What about our veterans? Gary Payton II is still a defensive asset, but his three-point shooting has been shaky. Will he be able to provide the spark we need? His success is largely contingent on whether he can stretch the floor, and if he can't, teams will exploit his defensive liabilities. Buddy Hield is in a similar boat. He's a fantastic shooter when he's on. But can he stay consistent enough to earn those playoff minutes? It's a gamble. And as a fan, I feel that tension every time he steps on the court. Let's not forget about Quinton Post. He's been a surprise package, but can he maintain that shooting efficiency in the postseason? We've seen how critical spacing can be in playoff matchups, and if Post can keep defenses honest, it could open up the floor for Curry and Butler to operate. But defensively, he's a liability, and that could limit his playing time against tougher opponents. Kevon Looney remains a steady presence, but his minutes may vary depending on matchups. He's been reliable in the past, and we know what he brings to the table. However, if the offense struggles, will he still get those opportunities? The dynamics of the playoffs can shift rapidly, and Looney's contributions might be overshadowed if the team can't find its rhythm. And there are the wild cards like Gui Santos and Trace Jackson-Davis. Santos has shown flashes of brilliance, but will that translate into consistent playoff production? Jackson-Davis has fallen out of favor, and unless there's an injury or a desperate need for his skills, I'm not sure we'll see him much. As fans, these uncertainties are both exciting and nerve-wracking. As we look ahead to the playoffs, the question remains, can this supporting cast rise to the occasion? They have the potential, but potential doesn't always translate into performance when it counts. Do you think this was the best decision to bring in Butler? Honestly, I'm torn. His experience and skill set are invaluable, but will it disrupt the chemistry we had? I want to hear your thoughts. How do you feel about the Warriors' chances as they head into the postseason? Are you confident in our role players, or do you share my concerns? Join the conversation in the comments below, and remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for all the latest updates on our beloved Warriors. Don't forget to activate the notification bell to ensure you never miss a moment of the action.